Man, these things are heavy.
Darkness for 40 days.
Come on.
I've been searching for holy flames, a sign to light up the way. So can you help me out?
A couple of years ago, I couldn't ride these bikes. I was a bit too heavy. But since I've lost weight, we've had a lot of fun with them.
More certain of truth before.
Rain jacket.
I've been called a righteous man before. Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before. So can you help me out?
Local Ibis this morning.
Oh, can you help
Good morning,
me
gents.
out? Am I on my
Beehives. We've been getting a lot of bees on the road. I was trying to figure out where they came from. I guess now we know. Ta-da!
Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told. So can you help me out? Oh, yeah. Can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or are you speaking now? Are you speaking now? Oh, I think I can feel you say, dream big, 'cause boy, you're gonna make it. Stand tall as a high road you're taking. Let go of everything that you know and be wild in the mystery.
We're at the Withlacoochee Golf Preserve today, and I want to talk to you about shedding these pounds. Every time I walk up these steps or anything like that, I'm reminded that not too long ago, I couldn't do it at all. I mean, it physically was an improbability for me. Yeah, I'm out of breath, but a few years ago, I couldn't even do that. I've never met anybody who actually wants to be overweight. When I was really big, I didn't want to be there. I hated being there. I mean, I truly despised being there. I was angry most of the time. And the rest of the time, I was just too lazy and too tired to do anything. That's why I got that big in the first place. And the bigger I got, the more lazy and the more tired and the more I didn't want to do anything. And then the bigger I got again. Something had to change. I'm going to tell you what triggered me to get started, and then I'm going to tell you how I did it. When I was in high school, I weighed about 160 pounds. Hard to believe. Funny part was is I was the same height I am now. Went in the Army, got up to about 198 pounds. Still had a 31-inch waist. I was a beast. And I was in great shape. But that all changed. In 2004, I found out two major big things about myself. At 34 years old, number one, I was a smoker and I had emphysema. Number two, I have degenerative joint disease in my knees. Look that up on Google. So in 2004, I quit smoking and I had to quit working out. I'm sure it's not hard for you to do the math. When all said and done, a few years later, I was up to 363 pounds. And at 5'10", that's a big boy. Now, my wife still weighed about 100 pounds. She still looked amazing. I didn't. And she tried hard for me to change. But I'm stubborn and pig-headed, and when I wanted to do it, I'd do it. And I was too angry and tired to mess with it because I didn't see a way out. And then something clicked. In about 2008, we went on a trip up to Cincinnati. Becky and I were born and raised in Cincinnati. And for my summers, I used to go to this place called Kings Island Amusement Park. Kings Island's kind of like a Six Flags. It's not a little carnival park. It's huge. It's got major roller coasters, some of the best in the world, actually. My two son-in-laws, I bragged about these roller coasters for a long time, and they thought it was all hype. So in 2008, they went up there with us. When we got there, the first thing I did was say, let's go ride some rides. So we went to Kings Island. And then they started to believe the hype. They were actually impressed. This place is awesome. So the first thing we did was get in line for 2 hours and wait for the first biggest, my favoriteest roller coaster ever. And it was time to get on. This is where it gets sad. So everything I talked it up to be, and I couldn't wait to get on that ride, and I couldn't wait to ride it with my two son-in-laws. I sat down in the seat, and they went to put the seatbelt on. Guess what? Seatbelt didn't fit. Oh, I tucked my tummy in. I could. No go. Didn't fit. Anybody who ever's been to an amusement park knows that if you don't get in the seatbelt, you don't ride the ride. So I had to walk by all these other people while somebody else took my chair. And then I had to watch my son-in-laws ride the ride without me. That hurt. Something popped right here. I had enough. I was tired of being big and I wanted to change. Right then, right there. So as soon as I got back to the house, I told my wife, Becky, I said, baby, I don't want to do this no more. I'm done. She said, fantastic. Here's the plan. See, she had been researching this stuff for quite a while. That was the beginning of my very long weight loss journey. Understand, these 6 things that I'm about to share with you didn't happen overnight. As a matter of fact, this is about 8 or 9 years worth of research and trial and error to try and figure out what worked for me and what didn't. What I'm about to share with you isn't a diet. As a matter of fact, I despise diets. When you said the word diet to me, it meant I had to deprive myself of something. Most diets didn't work for me because once I was on the diet, I was confined to some kind of a box and confined to a certain amount of space, and I was food claustrophobic. The other downfall was when I was done with the diet and I come out of that claustrophobic cage, I wanted to eat everything that I couldn't eat before. So I ended up eating more of it and doing more harm than good. This is a food lifestyle adjustment. There's 2 basic ways to lose weight. You can either diet or you can work out. Now, when you combine those 2, it is the best practice. But let's face it, most of us don't have time to go work out all the time. The rest of us, well, we don't want to change what we eat. My weight loss wasn't a result of my increase in activities. My increase in activities was a result of my food dietary adjustment. Number 1, no fried foods and get rid of restaurants. When I was in the service, I burned off a lot of fats. I mean, I burned off a lot of calories every single day. It was really easy to go burn a couple thousand calories off before I even ate breakfast. So deep fried foods was a staple for us. I deep fried everything. Who wouldn't? The stuff's fantastic. So that was the first thing we did. We got rid of deep fried foods. We started preparing and cooking our foods a different way. And what we found out was the more we cooked for ourselves, the more we liked our own food better than we like eating out. So we stopped going to McDonald's and Taco Bell and Burger King and all that. And guess what? It made an immediate impact not only on me, but on my wallet. So I didn't have to spend nearly as much money. That was pretty awesome. Number 2, whole foods and raw foods. Get rid of the nitrates. Those preservatives are terrible for your body. They're absolutely horrible. Your body wants whole and raw foods. That's what we're designed to eat. I never realized how much they destroyed my body until I got rid of them. Yes, you're going to need to eat some meats, and yes, you're going to need to eat some poultry and some fish. Eat more foods that you don't have to cook. Raw foods are fantastic for your digestive system, and you get way more out of raw foods than you do anything you cook. Number 3, no added sugars. A lot of foods have natural sugars, and those are fine, but added sugars are horrible for your body. Most of them are chemicals. They're not even a natural sugar. Not only are most of those chemicals harmful to your body, but they also do things to your brain that make you want more of those bad chemicals. And that's a drug, and that's not good. Number 4, portion control. This is a biggie for me because when I sat down to eat, I like to eat. Problem was, is I ate a whole lot, it filled me way up, and I didn't want to eat again for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours even. By the time I got to eat again, I was starving, so I ate another huge meal, and usually that was in the evening, and I ended up going to bed with all that on my stomach. This leads us into number 5. Eat multiple times a day. Eating multiple times a day helps you with portion control. One of the biggest problems with only eating 1 to 3 times a day is that your body doesn't know when it's going to get its next meal, so it actually stores up those fats and things. So eating multiple times a day causes your body to burn through that faster because it knows here real shortly it's going to get some more food. Now, I know that sounds hard to do, but the easiest way to do it is wake up, eat something, an hour later, eat something else. Then every 2 hours, eat something else. By the third of the day, you're not wanting a big meal. You just want something in your body because your body's like, hey, it's time for me to process something again. The funny part about this one is that it took me a really long time to realize that I had a problem with glycemic awareness. For those of you who do not know what that relates to, glycemic awareness relates to diabetes and people that make bad decisions. I knew a lot of people that made bad decisions and got diabetes, and it ended up taking limbs and all kinds of things and eventually their life. I wasn't going to be that guy. On one of my doctor's trips, they did my blood sugar and it ended up being 119. 119 is 1 point away from diabetic. It scared me to death. So immediately my wife started doing more research on the glycemic index. I want to make sure you understand the glycemic index is a world of information. There is a lot involved in that. I'm going to sum it up for you really quick. Imagine a flat line, and every now and then on that flat line, you eat something high in sugar. That line gets a huge sugar spike in it. That sugar spike is what causes diabetes. That sugar spike is what you want to avoid and get rid of. So how do we do that? When I eat something that's high in sugar, like a pineapple or something like that, my wife feeds me something that's higher in fiber. Fiber counteracts the sugars and it causes that huge spike to roll off. And that changed my number from 119 to 107 in 4 months. Now, 119 to 107 doesn't sound like a large number, but let me tell you something. It took me from the high red all the way down to the green. I was fine. I no longer have an issue with it, which means I beat it, and so can you. I am not a dietary expert. I'm not somebody that goes and works out all the time. I'm not a trainer. I'm just a guy who lost 135 pounds doing these 6 things over a very long period of time. If this strong willed, stubborn person can do it, so can you. These are just the basic things that I did. There's a lot more involved. There's meals that we had prepared that we no longer prepare or we prepare a different way. There's foods that I originally started eating that were healthy for me, ended up being unhealthy for me. That's part of that glycemic index thing that we figured out. So if you want us to dig deeper into what kind of foods we eat and how we prepare them and those kind of things, by all means, comment below and let us know. We'll be happy to help out. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit that like button down there. If you know somebody that this information will help out, please share it with them. We've got a lot of content coming in the future, so consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, strike that bell so you know when our content hits the channel. Now go be awesome.